I looked myself in the mirror, which I do not recommend. My mouth seemed as if it was melting open, and as if there were all these dark bugs and energies coming out of my mouth, and my face started to go all, like...
Today I sat down with Felicia, a psychedelic and breathwork facilitator that guided me and many others through a lot of ceremonies. We talked about insane stories and teachings that were extracted from these sessions.
Psychedelics on their own aren't your savior. They're not going to heal you. They amplify your state of being. So if you feel sad, you feel sad. If you feel joy, you feel so much joy. See the patterns of how it's trying to communicate with you through your senses.
Felicia also shared a little bit about her ayahuasca trip in Costa Rica.
Felt like a snake that was inside my tummy, and I saw my tummy moving and was like, what the f is happening?
Ugh.
Yeah, really weird to actually see your tummy moving as well.
Ugh.
So I just had to surrender completely.
It might sound
so far out there.
So far out.
I'm highly aware, yes.
These lessons and teachings can help us all move a little bit closer to wholeness and harmony on this planet.
The darkness that I see lives within me. All my imperfections, everything I thought was wrong, everything that I've been rejecting, it all made me see that those are parts of me that make me whole. For me, it was really claiming and fully letting it land in my body that I am the darkness.
Take some popcorn and enjoy the show, because it's gonna get crazy. If you talk about psychedelics to like random people you meet on the street, you'll often get the idea that it is dangerous. It is something that makes you jump off roofs and makes you think you can fly. What do you feel people don't understand about these substances?
To all of these ideas and beliefs about what it is, there's some form of truth to it. So it can be a dangerous experience, but those things are often when it's not used in the right set and setting, or there are some previous mental health issues within the family or within that person. When it comes to psychedelics, it's really about how do you use it, with which intention do you use it, with who are the people you are with that you use it with. And that kind of determines whether you use it as a drug. You go out to a party and you just take psychedelics and go crazy, or you have a bad experience, or whether it can be a deeply medicinal psychedelic experience where you go deep into your subconscious and heal things that usually can take years of therapy. There's also fear of letting go of control and fearing that they can't, and that will make them go crazy, which... yeah, you do need to have a level of surrender. But that's also why it's so important to do it with a guide or with someone who actually knows what the medicine is, how it works, how to navigate it, so that they can guide you into that softening, into that surrender, into the safety, so that you can do that. Because at the end of the day, we start to try and control something if we don't feel safe. So when you first work on that internal nervous system safety, and you have a guide who can guide you there when you feel things are getting a bit crazy within the experience, those are things that can help you to actually feel safe and to prevent harm when you do these things. It's not something to take lightly. And something that I also really notice is that people think that they need the medicine to be in those states, which isn't true. They show you what is possible and what you can achieve and what you can experience and how you can get there even, but it's not a one-time and fix-all. It's the integration after. It's you actually going to show up for the meditation, showing up for the breathwork, showing up for whatever you learned through that psychedelic experience, and to then actually do that in your day-to-day so that you can naturally move into those states of love and openness and expansion that you feel while you are on the medicine.
You talked about set and setting. Can you expand a little bit more on that? Because that seems to be the difference between a bad trip or a good trip.
So the set and setting is talking about your internal experience, your environment, and the people that you are with. So if any of those three is not in a supportive state for you to go into a full psychedelic experience, into other realms, it will create unsafety within you to actually explore it and to soften and to go into whatever the medicine is showing you. So that can be that you are with friends that are very judgmental or are constantly saying, "Oh, you're in psychosis," or you're being so weird, you're doing da da da. That will create anxiety and fear, obviously, because you feel out of it. And then as people are confirming, "Oh, it seems like you're in psychosis," that's gonna get the motor running. So if you are in an environment where people aren't safe, or you feel emotions coming up and it's not safe to express that, to feel it, to let the tears run, then you will go into a suppressive energy. And the more you suppress, the intenser the visuals, the intenser the experience, and the harder it gets until you finally let go. But that's the exact thing that you don't dare to do in moments that you feel unsafe. When you go into these things, you want to mentally be at a state where you are strong enough to hold transformative experiences. So you have a certain level of safety within yourself, where when things come up that you might not feel immediately safe in, where it's like, this is something I usually run away from, something I usually don't want to look at, that you are able to hold yourself during and after, or that you are with someone who is practiced and trained that can hold you in those moments.
And when are you ready to like go into psychedelics then?
Psychedelics is something that's not for everyone. If you have any history with severe mental illness, especially when it goes to like psychosis, or you have that in the family, or schizophrenia, these medicines are not for you. So that's really, do some research within your own family history if there are any genetic stuff or anything within yourself. Psychedelics, what they do, they amplify your state of being. So if you feel sad, you feel sad. If you feel joy, you feel so much joy. So it amplifies everything, which means if you are running away, the visuals, your feeling, everything will feel like chaotic energy and wanting to run away and all this contractive energy. So if you aren't willing to actually say, "Oh, whoa, what is happening? Everything is going crazy. Is there something it wants me to look at?" If you don't have that willingness, then you're going to get stuck in that craziness. It's only going to amplify. You need to sit out the trip and you never dare to do it again. So the willingness, that's the point.
I heard you talk a little bit about judgment, like prejudice, having like preconceived notions about someone or something. That is what comes up with me first. But is that the end all definition, or how do you see it?
As long as you have an experience, for example, you feel sadness coming up and you judge it as bad, as something that is not allowed to be here right now because you are supposed to be happy right now, you are with your friends, you are whatever, then you are judging it and you are pushing it away. When you are feeling really elevated, you feel really joyful, and you say, "Oh, this is a good experience, this is what I want, this is right," then what you immediately do is also create the opposite of that, something that you don't want, something that you are rejecting. And as long as you are rejecting something, you are not free, whether that's the light or the dark, but you are busy pushing it away. You are not actually just free. So with judgment, I mean anything that you put the label on this is right, this is wrong, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And you can have preferences, of course, but do not attach yourself to that. To not make things weird, or to make things should or shouldn't, or bad and right and wrong, and all those kind of polar opposites from each other.
Categorizing stuff, putting things in boxes, is that a good way to... We kind of need to do that, right? So I'm wondering, when should we do that, and when is it not helpful?
What I say, if you judge something in the form of labeling it as this is a table, this is a bed, this is a whatever, this is a comfortable bed, this is not a comfortable bed. Like, you can have preferences, and we need labels to understand what it is that we are talking about in this human experience. So it's not to get rid of it. And we also, for our own survival, have the notion of good and bad and right and wrong, because we need to stay safe. We need to survive. So all of those things are there for a reason. And it's, again, not to push it away, but it's to release your attachment to it, to be open to, for example, you feel a bad feeling, you feel angry, you feel sad, you feel frustrated, you feel chaotic, you feel whatever it may be. Instead of labeling it as bad, judging it as something that you do not want, what if there's something else on the other side? Could it be that it's showing you something, that it wants to teach you something? Could there be a message within this thing that comes up? To kind of take away that immediate, this is it, and I'm no longer gonna explore it, get curious about it. That's the thing that you kind of want to prevent, especially during psychedelic experiences. You want to be open to anything and just say, but what if? How could there be love behind this? How could this be a teaching? Why would it be here? Instead of, I don't like this, so I'm going to push it away. This shouldn't be happening right now, so I'm going to push it away. This is wrong. I shouldn't be this way. There's something wrong with me. All those things are only going to make you go into a negative experience.
How can we switch to this open mindset? Like, or how can we help others during such an experience?
When you are with someone who is on psychedelics and have a negative experience, which is like experience as a bad trip, the best thing you can do is create safety for them. Bring them into an environment that feels comfortable, that feels safe to their nervous system, and reassure them that the medicine is doing its work. It is working. That's something that I have heard somewhere along the lines from someone, and it has stuck with me because it really is that. A bad trip isn't a bad trip. It is showing you stuff that's already within. If it makes you extremely anxious, it's because there's an anxious energy that's within. It's not creating it. It's not giving it to you. It's already there. It's just amplifying it. So for you to go into a bad trip is just the medicine amplifying stuff within you so that you can see with crystal clear clarity what's going on. And it's not easy, it's not fun, but it is crystal clear if you choose to receive it that way, if you choose to receive the messages and the teachings.
So you wouldn't say it's an hallucination, because most people think that psychedelics are hallucinations. You say it's real, like it's actually reflecting something that is true.
Well, those are two separate things. Like hallucination can be visual, it can be auditory, like, or how do you say it? Auditory. It can be in different ways, but it is characterized as something that is not real. We can go into a whole discussion of that. Also, yeah, like we can go into a whole discussion of that.
We put a pin in that.
Yeah, like Shorty said, the feelings that you feel are real. Those get amplified. And your visuals, the things you hear, the thoughts you have, they all respond to that feeling. So if you feel something inside, the visuals are gonna be But if you feel something that feels very opening and loving and you feel calm in your nervous system, the visuals go calm. The visuals become very peaceful. Maybe you don't hear stuff or it's very loving. So everything that you experience, all the hallucinogenic experiences, they are just a way to show you with even more clarity what it is that you feel inside. It's going to shape everything together. It's not just, I feel shitty, but my visuals are good. No, it's going to match. So that's kind of what you notice in those things. So is it real? No, it's kind of still, well, yes and no. But it's more so that it kind of tries to tell a story from what you feel. It tries to make that clear to you through other ways.
Kind of using your senses as a tool to storytell.
Yeah, to communicate. Like one of the clear things that I've noticed when I come across a certain truth that I don't like to admit to myself or feel scary or I've been running away from. The moment I get there, my visuals go crazy and I feel this anxious energy. And that's for me a cue of, oh, there's truth here. Let's go into it. And the moment I say, oh, there's truth here, let's go into it, the visuals go calm. So it's kind of learning on how to listen to your body, how to navigate it, how to see the patterns of how it's trying to communicate with you through your senses. Some people also actually hear a voice and can talk with the spirit, especially with, for example, ayahuasca or with magic truffles or with mushrooms. These are plant medicines where people say there's actually a spirit attached to it. To my belief, I also feel that, but for everyone that's different. And sometimes you can even hear an actual voice, but more often than not, it's communicating through the senses. So to come back to your previous question about what to do if someone is in a negative experience and you are a friend. So if someone that you know is going through a bad trip and you need to support them in that moment, get them into a comfortable space and remind them that the medicine is doing its work. It's being the medicine, and reassure them that it's okay, that everything that they're moving through is safe. It's okay. It might not feel safe, but it's safe to not feel safe. And that they are held, that you are there with them, and that they can always come back to whatever it is that is going on in this moment. They don't have to decide anything. Nothing is for certain. Nothing is set in stone. The things that come up later, they can go back to it and see how much of this do I actually want to take with me in my day-to-day following. That's kind of the integration. For now, just experience. Nothing is bad. Everything is okay. Might be uncomfortable, but it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's safe to be uncomfortable. And just kind of repeat that to them. See what it is that they need. Maybe they are able to tell you what it is that they need. Maybe they say, I just need to be alone. I just need some whatever. Maybe they're able, maybe not. And then you can try and explore a little bit, maybe some meditative music, something that calms them down, and see what works. Ask them, does it make you feel a bit calmer? Does it make you feel a bit more safe? And hold them. Don't stay calm yourself as well. Don't get into this rushy energy and this fear energy and whatever, because they can feel that. When you are on the medicine, you are hypersensitive and you will pick that energy and it will only amplify. So when you are a friend supporting someone going through it, stay calm and allow your grounding to be their grounding. You're knowing that it's just a medicine and they will be fine, they will be okay, that will ripple through into them.
Is it safe to assume that like the experience itself is not enough to actually create a real change in your life?
Yeah.
So how do we go and like get the change from it, right?
So psychedelics on their own aren't your savior. They're not going to heal you. They can only give you a little bit of a push, and they can show you what needs to be healed and how to do it. So you go through a psychedelic experience, things come up. Maybe you had beautiful breakthroughs. Maybe you connected with oneness and you feel so blissful. Maybe you had a really tough experiences and things came to the surface that you didn't even know were there. Whatever it is, afterwards is important to journal about it, to write the things down that came up for you, that feel important to you. And to sit with yourself on how can I make small little adjustments in my life that will help me integrate this more. So for example, something came up and you notice, I haven't been living in my purpose. I haven't been feeling connected to my soul. I have been just kind of going whatever. When you have that insight, maybe the next step can be, okay, so this week, I'm going to sit with myself and I'm going to meditate. I'm going to connect with my soul. And I'm going to sit with what actually genuinely excites me. What gives me meaning in life? Why am I here? Why do I do what I do? Ask certain questions to yourself and start exploring the things that you can explore to get yourself into more meaning, into more purpose, if that's the thing that came up. Or maybe some forgiveness came up for a parent or a caregiver that wasn't able to meet you when you were younger. Maybe the follow-up can be that you write a letter towards that person. Whether you send it or not, doesn't matter. But you write a letter to them, really giving everything that you have been holding up until that point, giving that to the letter, and then maybe afterwards burn it, give it to the fire, allow it to be transmuted, forgive that person or those people, that situation, and see that as a symbolic ritual to actually let go of it. And recognize in how it rippled through in your life that you didn't forgive that person. Maybe there are wounds with your father, and maybe that still ripples through in the connections you now have with men. So after you have wrote that letter and you have given it to the fire, okay, how are you now gonna move differently as a person who doesn't have wounding with their father, who has a really, really good relationship with their father? How would they interact with men? What are certain ways that they would respond or wouldn't respond? And how is that, where's the gap between them and you? And how can you bridge that right now? What are certain practices that will help you stay connected to certain feelings you had during the psychedelic experience? Maybe you felt so freaking present, like no thought in your mind. You were so in the here and now, and it gave you such bliss. You can meditate more so that you go into that state of being and you can reconnect with it. Like there are so many different ways, so many different practices, so many different rituals that you can do to help you integrate whatever it is that came up, and you can start taking different steps from that point forward. Because it helps you kind of go into your nervous system, into your subconscious, and a certain depth that's difficult to reach on your own, or takes a very long time to get there. But then after you've reached it, you need to stay connected with that so that it can actually ripple out into your life. So yeah, those are a few examples of what it is that you can do, but it's different for every experience because everyone has different insights, different experiences.
What can you talk a little bit more about one of your own experiences?
One of my own experiences. Yeah, so there are two that are coming up for me. One was with ayahuasca, when I did an ayahuasca retreat a couple of years back. And I did it in 4 nights in a row. And the first evening for me was miserable. I couldn't even move a finger. I was so exhausted, so nauseous the entire time. I couldn't do anything. And it got me into a state of depression that I've never experienced before. And during my experience, I even started thinking of, did I break my mind right now? Did something go wrong? Is this who I am? Did I just never see this? What's going on? Especially because I set the intention, show me who I've become. And I was just, yeah, it's great. So for me to then go into such a depressive state, it got me completely confused. And it took me a couple of hours after to get myself out of it. But then on the 3rd night, I had a really beautiful experience where I finally started to surrender, and I started to kind of learn how to work with the medicine and how to navigate it. And during that time, I again started to feel so freaking nauseous. But this time I realized, but wait, I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to amplify it. I'm going to move with it. So I feel nauseous. When I move, I feel even more nauseous. So I'm going to move. And the more I started moving and the more nauseous I became, the more excited I started to become to actually throw up and to purge. And every time that I felt like I wanted to purge, the medicine said, not yet, not yet. Okay, so I'm going back. And
okay, could you expand a little bit more on what is purging?
Good question. Good question.
I'll get this a little bit better. Yeah, perfect.
Purging is kind of seen as you releasing a lot of energies, a lot of emotions, stuff that just isn't yours to hold, just waste, kind of. You are purging all of that out. Can be through throwing up, can be through yawning, can be through crying, can be through screaming, can be through having diarrhea, can go all different ways. But the core of it is that you are releasing and detoxifying your body, your nervous system, your energetic body. And from that place, you empty yourself so that you can hold higher frequencies. So it's kind of getting rid of all the dense energies so that higher energies can come into your system.
Dense energies.
Yeah, denser energies. So lower vibrational energies, energies that just feel sticky and muggy and those energies.
Okay.
Those can be purged out. And often what people experience, for example, with ayahuasca, is that they know what it is that they are purging out. If they are throwing up, they can just have this inner knowing, or the plant tells them that it's shame, or that it's guilt, or that it's the pain of the parents that abused them, or whatever it may be. They have this intuition, this feeling, this understanding that they are throwing up stuff that all this time was stuck in their body, in their cells, in their energy field.
So in your experience, what did you purge then? Because you said like I moved with the medicine and like I became more nauseated, and then I
wanted to throw up, but she wouldn't let me. So I was just kind of in this dance with the medicine. I was one of the people that was able to have a consult, so actually talk with her, hear a voice in my head. No, it sounds really crazy, but yeah. And every time that I was on the edge and I was actually like gagging, ready to throw up, she would come through and it was like, not yet. And this became a game where at a certain point I was even begging her to throw up. Where it's like, please just let me throw up. I just want to. I can't hold this anymore. And for me, what made the switch was the moment where I started celebrating life during the misery. So I was extremely nauseous and people started going into the center and started dancing and started whatever. And I kept repeating to myself, nothing is bad, it just is. Nothing is bad, it just is. I make it bad or good, so it just is. And the nausea, what it just was. It's just an experience. It's just energy. It's not good, it's not bad, just energy. And people started going into the circle and started dancing. And I was so nauseous that I couldn't dance, but it looked so fun. So at a certain point, I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn my body towards it so that I can still enjoy the show while being nauseous and hanging above my bucket. And then the medicine told me, like, yeah, you can enjoy the show even though you feel misery. It's like, okay, gotcha. So I started dancing and being all in the joy and in the celebration, even though I felt awful in the inside. And then at a certain point, someone brought me into the circle, one of the guides there, and we were holding hands with each other. And I felt this wave of love rush over me. And then she said, now it's time. So I ran to my bed and suddenly I threw everything up. And the teaching that she really showed me, and what to me felt like I was purging, was a lot of shame and a lot of fear and a lot of like judging things as good or bad, instead of actually it just is, and I can allow things to evolve and flow the way that they want to. I can be in joy even though the world reflects misery to me right now. I don't have to hold up this persona or this mask of who I should be or how I should act, or the previous nights weren't good, so now it's weird if I am suddenly in all joy. Like whatever stories and drama was going on in my head, all those things were being like purged, being thrown up, so that I was empty afterwards. And the second that I was done purging, I felt so light. I felt energetically just like, oh, wow. And that's when I was able to actually go out and dance with them and celebrate. And I felt such love. And there was someone else that was looking at me and looking me in the eyes, like, wow, I can feel your love. And we started hugging each other. And for the first time, I felt seen and recognized for the truth of who I am, which is love. So that's kind of my beautiful experience in that.
And how did that reflect to the first night then? Because why did
Yeah.
ayahuasca show you this depressive state?
Yeah. So the clarity that came after that was that the first night for me was a different way of purging. It was she had to put me down into a state where I couldn't even open my eyes. I couldn't lift a finger, anything, because I needed to rest. I needed to sit my ass down and just let the energy get out of me. So all I can do was surrender. And that was what was needed, because I first needed to purge all the energy that I had kind of cultivated and took on myself of those 20 years of living, or however long it was, that I gathered in my body. And the first night for me was just pure surrender, pure letting it all go, learning to surrender, learning that these experiences aren't bad. They are just part of the experience. It just is. And letting all of that go. And the second night for me was a lot softer. It was more me learning how to navigate the medicine, getting kind of more of a taste of it. And the third night was where I actually put one and one together and I was able to get the breakthrough. So it was a process for me to get to that breakthrough that was needed. I needed to energetically purge. I needed to learn that even these negative experiences, it just is, and it was what was needed for me to get to the breakthrough. And I needed to learn how to talk with the medicine, how to navigate it, how to work with it.
That was night 2.
That was night 2. And night 3 was, I had all the tools and everything was cleared out to such a degree that I could actually consciously move through it and purge what was needed and make those breakthroughs.
And fourth night?
And the fourth night was interesting. The fourth night was a very long ceremony from like 7 p.m. until like 10 a.m. It was like
7 in the evening to 10 in the morning.
Yeah, like it was a long ceremony.
Okay.
And I was exhausted at that point. And before the ceremony even started, I already fell asleep. So at a certain point, the shaman was like, Felicia, what is your intention? I was like, sorry, what? I just woke up and I needed to run to the circle. Really fun. But then afterwards, as we took the cups and I went laying down again, I just fell asleep and I had a nada. And they say that a nada happens when the trauma...
What is a nada?
Yeah, a nada is that you fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
And they say that a nada happens when the traumas and the experiences, the things that Mama Ayahuasca, that's how they call the spirit within the medicine, that the things that Mama Ayahuasca needs to heal within you are so traumatic, so painful, that it's better for you to not be conscious as she does it. And that's why she puts you asleep, so that you don't have to be aware of what it is that's being healed.
Damn.
But afterwards, you will feel the effects. So I had a nada. And
that feels like a cheat code.
A little bit. But it's also like you pay quite a lot of money and quite a lot of investment of your energy and whatever. So if you then just sleep, it feels like you didn't really do anything. There was a person, an older woman, 70 or something, that had 3 nights in a row just nadas. And the fourth night she was like, I don't want another nada. And she didn't. She just had a terrible time. But she didn't have a nada.
Fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, the fourth night I had a nada, and then I woke up and I went to the shaman and I said, like, I don't feel anything. The first cup, I'm sober. It's like, okay, just hold on a little bit. We are gonna go for the second cup in a bit and we will call you forth. Okay. So I waited, got the second cup, got back into the bed, and I fell asleep again. And then afterwards, Mama Ayahuasca started talking to me. I asked her, like, why did you put me to sleep? She's like, yeah, there are a lot of lives where you experience immense trauma. So it's not just that. And then she asked if it was okay for her to go inside of my body. And I said, yeah. So I felt this energy move, like, from the outside into my mouth, into my body. Ooh. And it started going through my tummy almost, it felt like a snake that was inside my tummy, and I saw my tummy moving, and it was like, what the fuck is happening?
Ugh.
Yeah, really weird to actually see your tummy moving as well.
Ugh.
So I just had to surrender completely to the experience and the feeling, the uncomfortability of it all. And then she explained to me that I held a lot of pain, a lot of grief, a lot of dense energies in my body that are no longer there to serve me and that weren't mine to hold. And that she was healing those, and that it was in my bones, it was in my skin, it was in my hair, it was in my heart, it was everywhere. So as she was moving through my body, she was kind of extracting all of those energies and taking it out. And then at a certain point, she asked, is it okay if I take your heart? And I was like, yeah. So she took my heart and she cleaned it. And she told me that I had so many lives that I suffered, so many lives that I had to be strong, and that love wasn't safe for me. And that now is the moment for me to let the love in, and that it's time for me to receive the love and to celebrate it. So she put the heart back in. And afterwards, I ran to the bathroom and I needed to purge, and all this energy was just getting released. And once I was done purging, I came out of the bathroom and I was like, I feel reborn. I feel light. I feel different. I don't know what changed. I don't know what she did, but I feel awesome. Like, awesome. So then I just went out and I started dancing with everyone and celebrating that it was the last time, or the last ceremony, and it was a marriage ceremony at the end as well. So just pure celebration of love, which beautifully aligns with what I also went through. So yeah, it was a beautiful kind of full circle experience of deep surrender, learning how to navigate it, beautiful breakthrough, full energetic purge, clean out, and rebirth.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So, damn. Okay. So this it might sound like
so far out there.
So far out.
So far out there. I'm highly aware. Yes.
But this is also what the show is about. Like growing up and seeing all the textbooks and seeing that fundamentally we're all like particles, and like there's so much progress made in this material realm that we started to believe that is all there is. Like being in the room with these scientists that... Editor Max here. This requires a little bit more context because over the past 2 years I've been freelancing for a different podcast called Essentia Foundation. It's also here on YouTube. That is a podcast for everything regarding the nature of reality and consciousness. It features all these bright minds on the topics of the nature of reality, consciousness, neuroscience, and it aims to change the scientific consensus that we are not separate from nature, but that a more holistic picture of this world is more probable if you really think deeply about it. So that is the context. That's also the reason why this show is like looking so fucking good for the first episode. I have some experience with this. And the reason why it's called What's the Matter is because I've been, in the past 7 years, going through a world belief shift from where we are separate from nature to where we are all one with nature. I want this show to be about integrating this new world belief. Like, what's the matter with this world? What's the matter with people around us? But also, what's the actual matter, right? What I believe is that when you adopt this more holistic worldview, you start to see that this matter, this 3D reality, is basically an illusion. That fundamentally we are not made of particles, but we are made of consciousness. And yeah, I just needed to add that into the context. So I hope this wasn't too long. Let's continue on with the podcast. that we might not be these separate little meat sacks running around, but that we might have this non-physical aspect to us, opens the door for so many new phenomena. So I thank you so much for this story of ayahuasca. And you said you had another a spiritual experience. Are you willing to share more about that, or do you want to move on and maybe do it in the next episode? Because you're gonna come back probably.
Yeah. The other one I want to talk about is the psychedelic experience I had with Truffles. And that was kind of an experience that for most people would have been a bad trip, where the best way I can describe it is I went into the underworld, into the below world, like a really dark energy. And I saw all these spiders and snakes and just creepy faces and middle fingers. And it was a whole experience. And it connected me with certain deities and goddesses and whatever that are associated with the underworld or the below world. And there was a moment where I looked myself in the mirror, which I do not recommend if you are new to all of this, or you still need to learn how to kind of separate yourself from the things that you see and whatever. Like, do this when you are experienced, if at all.
Just very quickly, like how do you think psychedelic experiences did you have before you went there?
A lot. I don't know exactly. I didn't count, but you will feel it. You will feel when you are ready. Once you have done psychedelics a couple of times, you will probably notice that inner feeling of when you see a mirror. Do I want to look myself in the mirror? I don't know. So yeah, it's for everyone. It's different. Some people do it at the first time and have a great experience. Other people don't. But it's a risky game because it's an immediate reflection of everything that's going on within, and your visual shapeshift and can make you look extremely creepy. What I had when I was looking myself in the mirror that time, my face, just like my mouth, seemed as if it was melting open, and as if there were all these dark bugs and energies coming out of my mouth, and my face started to go like very scary. And as it was happening, I felt the fear and the part of me that was like, I want to look away, I don't want to see this. And then I heard a voice saying, just stay with it, just stay present with it, it's okay. Okay, so I just stayed present with it, and the more that I did that, the more okay I started to feel, and the more I started to recognize of this darkness, all these things that I see, it doesn't change what's within. The person looking in my eyes is still the same person, even though all the other stuff is scary as shit. It's still the same. And that kind of brought me into a new level of confidence all the way. But afterwards, as I reflected on the experience, and it was such a bad experience, was in all these negative visuals and whatever, that I asked myself, like, what was the purpose of this? Why would this have happened? And there was a moment during the ceremony where I saw a reflection of myself as kind of the tree of life, with one part being in the light and one part being in the dark. And it showed me like why I saw myself in that experience, and my face started to go creepy and I felt scared and anxious. All of that was to show me that the darkness that I see lives within me. It's part of me. There's no separation. The darkness around us, the darkness that we see, it's part of the yin and the yang. It's part of the whole. Without the darkness, I am not whole. I am not one. Everything and everyone has light and dark. And only through accepting your darkness and seeing that internal nothing changes because you are one. So when you only see the dark reflected, the thing inside still holds both. Through recognizing that, I saw like, oh, but there's nothing wrong with me then. All my imperfections, everything I thought was wrong, everything that I've been rejecting, anything that I didn't like, it all made me see that those are parts of me that make me whole. Because if I don't have those and I'm fully perfect and only light, I'm half of what I am. I'm not the full spectrum. So that bad experience, which most people would have said, yeah, it was freaking awful, I'm never going to do it again, actually brought me back to such a great sense of wholeness and power and understanding and releasing fear of the darkness, of the unknown, of demons, of whatever. Like all those things, it's just like, no, they are me. And because I am it, they are my protectors. The darkness is the protector of the light. And it's not there to hurt me. It's there to bring forth something within me that the light cannot. It's there to show me something. It's there to bring me into wholeness, because I am all. I am the light and the dark.
Like, do you believe that there are these adversarial, like evil entities that can possess you, or like that you can't do anything about?
I think so. Like these are, of course, I'm. No one knows for certain. Me neither. But my perspective is, yes, you do have demons. You do have dark entities that can take over your body, can hurt you, can whatever. But there's one very important nuance in that, is that they don't do that with the intent to hurt you. It's always to bring back power to you. What I believe is there's love behind everything, which means that there's a loving reason behind the demons, behind the darkness, etc. If you, for example, have an experience where someone goes into a haunted house and they experience a demon, or there's just in their own house experience those demonic experiences or whatever it may be, in those moments, those demons are acting out of immorality, are acting out of something that scares you, that brings such fear that your protection gets activated and you step into your own power, where you say, get the out, instead of, I don't want you, please go away, please go away. Which one is powerful? Is it please go away, or get out? So it's trying to get you into a certain state of being, to reclaim something within yourself, your own darkness, your own protection, your own power to say no, so that you are more of who you are meant to be, so that you are more in that wholeness, more in authentic power, which means light and dark coming together into one. That's what I see as power. So yes, I do believe that you have these dark energies and these demons and these whatever. It's just that the negative ideas we have put on them as if it's bad, that's what I don't believe. I believe that they are here to serve a loving reason, and that they can go into your body, they can hurt you, they can scare the living shit out of you, they can make you miserable because they don't have morality, but it's all to bring you back into that wholeness, to make you see something within yourself that you can activate, that you can step into to feel even more powerful and more unfuckwithable than before that interaction.
What makes you believe that they all do it with the intent of love? Like, it seems to be pretty evil, or like evil seems to be like sometimes evil for evil's sake.
I believe that actions and experiences can be evil, but the energy behind it never is. That's what I've noticed. One of those things is through my psychedelic experience, where I went into that dark energy that I just talked about. It really made me feel and realize that behind all of those dark deities, those dark energies, those dark entities, everything that I was tuning into, there was love behind it. There was a warmth behind it. There was a tenderness behind it even. And every time that I ask myself a question when I are in like interacting with the darkness, or I'm connecting with the energies of like demonic stuff, every time that I connect with that and I ask myself the question, what would be the most loving reason for this? I always find a reason. And I always find a reason that deeply resonates with my heart and my soul, where it's just like, yes, this is truth. The same feeling that I feel when I take psychedelics and everything is going crazy, and then suddenly I find the truth and everything is still. That is what I also feel in my sober life when I have these moments that I connect with the darkness or interact with it, and I ask, why are you here? Why is this the most loving thing? What are you trying to activate in me? I always find it, and I always come back to more love. So how can it not, at least for me? That's all. It's just showing you stuff. And why it gets scary, like we fear that we can protect ourselves to those beings or to those experiences. Or we get into this very fearful, we need to protect ourselves. But instead of just the softening and allowing your love, your softness to melt all the other stuff away. Because darkness is a lack of information. If you put a candle in a dark room, it lights up the room. The darkness doesn't take over the candle. So as soon as you bring your own light, your own love, your own softness into the room of the darkness, it'll fade away. That's really what I've noticed.
Beautiful. So in order to follow the tendency we've already like established before, like we had the experience. This also applies in daily life, I have a feeling. The way I see that kind of play out is this idea of toxic positivity. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean for you? And like, how can we move on from that?
So to me, toxic positivity is only embracing the light. Seeing the light, seeing the positive experiences of life, the positive state of being, seeing that as good. And when you're not in that state, it's bad. So you are faking the positive. Yeah, what I said, kind of coming back into the psychedelic experience I had. When you do that, you are literally rejecting half of what you are. Because you are not all light. You're not always positive. You're not always in the woohoo vibe. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you're cranky. Sometimes you act out of character. Sometimes you can be a bitch. Like, it's okay. You can have all those aspects within yourself and still be worthy, still be good enough. That kind of toxic positivity comes from this inner state, this inner feeling of, I'm not good enough, I am wrong, something is wrong with me, I am not worthy for love. Whenever I am in those lower energies, in those negative states of being, whatever it may be. So yeah, how to move out of that is to start recognizing that you need it. It's part of who you are. You are both light and dark. Without the darkness, existence wouldn't exist. We need shade. We need the darkness. So it's for you to recognize that, not just in your mind, but to actually let it land in your body, in your heart, that yes, we need the darkness. We need the light. We need both to feel whole. That's when you can start to bridge it.
Like, okay, this is pretty abstract. Can you like maybe provide an example from your own life where you probably rejected darkness before?
I'm going to use an example that I had to move through pretty much straight after that I had this psychedelic experience. So I had the experience of, oh, the darkness isn't a bad thing. It actually is the thing that makes you whole. And I started integrating that by looking at my life. What are the points? What are the places that I am still rejecting? The things that I still hold shame about? The things that I don't fully dare to embody or step into? What are those things? For me, one of those things is, and I'm still getting better in it, still working through it, is setting strong, clear boundaries, saying no to people. And one of those ways that kind of helped me shift that is when I just had that psychedelic experience and I went outside to a forest and there was this man, older man, and he started touching me. And I noticed that there was still this inner feeling of, no, but you need to be nice to this person. You need to say, no, thank you, no, thank you. And not be too harsh, not be too cold, not be too distant. Like actually also think about their comfort. Think about how it would be for them to be rejected and that all happens subconsciously. This is not something that actually I have a conversation with myself about, but that kind of energy makes me not put up the strong boundary and say, no, stay away from me. I don't know you. I don't want this. I don't give you permission to touch me. Because I am looking at comfort, and maybe I'm too cold then, maybe I'm too harsh then. And therefore I stop protecting myself. So that's a way how like the positivity, the light of comfort, and the understanding, the compassion for this person. Oh, but they come out of a different culture. There it's more normal. There it's more whatever. All that understanding and the light of it is actually hurting me and also hurting that person. Because if I meet them at their soul, at their truth, I know they don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. They have the unchanging thing within them. That's also the unchanging thing that's within me. That's why we are all one. Like everyone holds that part within, and that part, I know they don't want to make me feel uncomfortable. So if I then allow it, I'm actually doing a disservice to that part in him as well. So I need to learn how to set that boundary. And that also can be with like when you go into positive, like toxic positivity, can be that I would, for example, just share to people, yeah, no, I'm doing great, I'm doing fine, everything is great, even though my life is actually falling apart and I actually feel deeply alone and I actually feel sad and I need support. But I wasn't able to actually ask for that because I felt like I was a burden to other people, or because I feel like they are already so busy in their life. I can take care of it myself. I don't want to interrupt anything that they are working on. And instead of doing that, I am now more so at a place where I say like, well, life sucks right now. It sucks. Life is sucky sometimes. Life can be freaking hard, and I'm done playing like it's not. Everyone has the same experience. Everyone knows that life can be like one of the hardest things ever. It is the hardest thing ever. So yes, there's a lot of bliss and a lot of joy, and we need to celebrate that and accept that and whatever. And it's also okay to completely own and be in the energy of dissatisfaction, of pain, of frustration, of sadness, of I don't want to talk or communicate with anyone, or for a woman to be really direct, to be cold, to be distant, to not have a smile on their face, to whatever it may be. All those things are things that I also dealt with. And piece by piece, I'm learning to let go of, to unmask in a sense. Like darkness can be seen as different to anyone and everyone, pretty much. Like what is dark, what is light? One experience can feel like a extremely light experience to one and a really dark experience to another. So both are within the same thing, and it's about how you experience it, first of all. But anything that we reject, we kind of push away into the shadow, into the darkness, saying, I'm not going to be aware of you, I'm not going to focus on you, I'm not going to do anything with you, we're going to push you away. And this can be different for anyone, whether that's something within you that you believe is wrong about you, or that isn't good enough, or that is that you are not worthy of something, or whether it's ways that you don't set boundaries with other people, that you are going into people-pleasing energy, moments where you actually want to speak up for yourself, but you don't. Moments where you get really, really angry, but you feel like anger isn't accepted to express and to feel. So you push it away, and you then just and you go away, and maybe you go into your own room and you throw something against the wall, whatever. Like anything that you reject, it can even be a positive experience when it's light and joy and you have a celebration that's going on, but you're not allowing yourself to actually feel it. You're trying to push yourself back into that darkness, into the suffering, because that's what you've always known and that's what feels safe. anything that you reject is you putting something into the darkness and creating something that restricts you, that not makes you free. Because every time that you push something away, you are not free. You are busy pushing it away. And that's a 24/7 job. So it literally can be anything for anyone.
What was the biggest unlock for you where you weren't free before, but some form of experience or insight got you free?
For me, it was the darkness psychedelic experience, what I talked about. That for me was really claiming and fully letting it land in my body that I am the darkness. The darkness I can see in others is only because I hold it within myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to recognize it. The light I see in others, I can only see because I hold that light within myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to recognize it. So to me, the full remembrance and claiming of I am the darkness, I am the light. None is bad, it just is. And it's all there of surface for love. I can like and don't like certain ways that it manifests itself, but that's my human. That's the human experience, which is also welcome. That's also okay. That's also part of the experience, because a lot of people kind of get twisted or feel friction within the belief of nothing is good and bad. Because it's like, well, clearly it is. A child getting murdered isn't a good thing. It's like, well, yeah, fair. But that's to like the human experience of it all. The parts of us that live in duality, that live in good and bad, right and wrong, should and shouldn't, all those energies. When you zoom out though, and you go into your soul and you see everything as experience, everything as development and unfolding of life's creation, and you take away the attachment of this is what I like and this is what I don't like, it just is. That's when you are able to actually observe it and use it in the way that it is from a loving place intended to be used.
There are a lot of people in the spiritual community that say, oh, nothing is good or bad. So that is kind of a free reign to any bad thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
But what I also acknowledge, and I think this thing of seeing the world in two separate realms is very helpful for this. Like there is the human, as you call it, but how I see it, there is this physical reality. Yeah. Where certain actions lead to certain consequences. I think the rules of morality play out in this physical realm, and that as soon as you zoom out or connect with like the larger reality in spirituality, things become super blurry, and like you see kind of the two sides of this, that it's two sides of the same thing. Yeah. But that doesn't mean, in my opinion, that we could just act out like do anything here in the physical realm and don't.
Well, that's the question. It's a really strong point, because yes, that's a question that the deeper you go into your spiritual journey, the more you will go into that question. And the past couple of years for me have been ego death after ego death after ego death. And to kind of give an explanation of what that is, the ego is kind of the mind, it's your identity, it's the experiences you hold. It's, I am Felicia, I am so many years old, and I do this, and I do that, and this is what I like, this is what I don't like. All these labels, all these assumptions, all these things that make you you. And the ego death in that sense means that all of those things that make you you, that create your identity, your whole belief system, all your values, everything just dies off. It goes away. You start questioning everything. You can't trust on anything that you've learned throughout the years. Everything that you thought you were, it just falls away. And this gets you into a sort of emptiness, into a state of void, where it's like, who am I? What is the meaning of life? What What is it that I've learned that is actually true? Is there anything true? You start questioning everything. In one of those beautiful experiences throughout the past year, I came to a point where I realized that nothing holds meaning. All my desires, everything that I want, every reason why I think I'm here, it's all meaningless. There's no actual reason. It doesn't matter if I do it or I don't do it. Nothing matters. That was the core. And this got me into a kind of depressive energy of, well, but if nothing matters, then what am I doing here? Why do I exist? Why am I here then? It's like, well, just because. That's not satisfying to me. Like, why am I here? Because that means that I can also just be a bad person. I can just go around and fuck everyone over. So it doesn't matter. Why would I not do that then? And to me, the more I went into that death and the more my ego started to go away, the more I got centered into the truth that we are all one. There's no separation. Everything is one. So if that's the case, then why would I choose in a meaningless world that is already cold, that is already a lot of suffering? Why would I choose to create even more suffering to the human where it feels like there is meaning? To the human where it feels like good and bad are there. Why would I do that? It doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring other people joy. And if it's already so meaningless, then I would love to be there to give a little bit more meaning to the human where I can. To treat the thing that is me with a little bit more love where I can. Not because I have to, not because it should be that way, not because the darkness is bad, but because I prefer a state of love over not love. And I prefer to bring meaning where I can, even though deep down I know it doesn't hold any meaning. But to the human, to the 3D, to the physical realm, it does hold meaning. So I'd love to add to that instead of make it worse. So that's kind of the point where you get to at a certain point where it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. I can be a bad person. I can go kill people. And yeah, there are human consequences. But if I don't care about it because nothing holds meaning, then why do I not do it? And then it comes to your truest truth, where it's like, yeah, but even if you could, do you want to? Do you genuinely want to?
Yeah.
And not out of a place of pain, because that's also a lot of like people who want to hurt other people or people who fuck over other people. It all comes from a point of survival, point of fear, but not from truth, to my belief. I genuinely believe that every soul here on earth came with a level of compassion and love, because that's who we are. That's the fabric of life. It's behind everything. It's the unchanging thing within every human. And it's still there, even though if it feels dormant, even though they've done evil things in the human reality, that part is still there. And they might not even dare to look at it because it's too confronting for everything they've done. But that is where I would love to meet people, and not in the ego, because that doesn't matter. It's just a little piece of the puzzle.
If you go further in your spiritual awakening, then maybe you start to realize that all these concepts only exist in this,
In the humanness.
in the humanness, in matter, right, in physical reality.
And that doesn't take away from the realness of it. Like, I want to also make that clear, because what we experience as our human is real. The pain we experience, the suffering we experience, the evil that's on this planet, it is real. But only to our human. It's not to, like, if you zoom out, like, there are multiple perspectives. It's always yes and. It's not yes or, no or. It's and.
I like that.
So just to make that clear, the suffering that we experience as human is so real, and it's so painful, and it's so gut-wrenching at some points. And you can also tap into that love, into that compassion, into that unchanging thing, and relieve yourself from some of the suffering, knowing that it's just a little piece of the puzzle, and it's what we came here to experience, and it can be your gateway to aliveness. Because all that pain and all that suffering, when you truly allow it to move through you and out of you, it can be so pleasurable if you relieve yourself from attachments and from judgments of good and bad and right and wrong. But you just feel the emotion. It's, oh, you're so alive. So it can be your doorway as well. And the pain and the suffering is still real.
Science explored this material reality like until the fucking point where it seems to not make any sense anymore. And I've personal feeling that the science suggests that we're kind of at the border where like physical reality turns into spiritual reality, and like. With quantum physics, I don't know anything about quantum physics, but I feel like that is kind of where shit becomes so weird that you kind of see the border at which we can perceive physical reality. As I grew up with this picture of everything that we can measure and everything that is matter, I began assuming that was everything there is. I only believed in the things we could measure, the things we could prove. But since I've been exposed to spiritual experiences and also scientists who go beyond that picture, or at least entertain the thought of there being something out of the things we can measure, I see that just rejecting what science has been doing for like
Years,
maybe 1,000 years. I don't know. Like it's all this buildup of all this knowledge about the physical reality. I don't want to reject physical reality. Physical reality is part of what there is, and just flat outright saying like, "Oh, this is all an illusion." It kind of is, but it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Matter is very real to us.
Yeah. But
and
those are the paradoxes of life.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. Like their life is filled with paradoxes. And that's why it's so difficult to understand to some people, because it's like, well, but how can something be good, yet also not be good? How can there be a human and ego, yet also there's no human and no ego? Like, how does that work?
Is there matter or isn't there matter?
Yeah.
Like, it's a simple question. Yeah. And so that's not a simple answer.
Exactly. Yeah. So those are the paradoxes of life, and that it's filled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you.
Tell me.
Is there anything you'd like to be asked that I didn't ask? And what question would that be? Is there something on your heart? Is there something you would like to talk about? Something that pops up? Something you think is important?
Well, something I do feel is important to do, or feel called to share, is like we can talk about all of these spiritual concepts and about psychedelics and the dark and the light and all these things. But the only way for someone to truly understand it is by exploring it themselves, by not hearing other people talk about it, but by asking the questions yourself and to tune into your own body, find your own sense of truth. What are things that feel like truth in my body? What are things that don't feel like truth in my body? And then start laying your truth against the things that you hear, the things that you read, the things that you research. But start asking yourself the questions, start tuning into your own body. That's how you start to actually integrate it. not to just have it in your mind, but to have it a physical experience in your body, where also people can just move you like with and you fall over. You will be strong in your sense of self, in your confidence, in your belief systems. You know yourself. And the only way to get there is by asking the questions to yourself and stop outsourcing everything to other people.
What is a question people should ask themselves?
The number one question that comes up for me is, like, depends on where you start, of course. But if you really at the start, the number one question is, how could this be the most loving reason? How could this be the most loving thing that could have happened? That's the first question. And with anything that comes up in your life, and start kind of going into that and feel the truth of it. The other thing is also to literally sit with your body, feel into your body. How is your breath moving? How is the energy moving? Without changing anything, without labeling of good and bad, just observing, getting familiar with it. And then ask it, how does truth feel in my body? Feel what shifts in your body. How does it feel? How does something that isn't truth feel in my body? Okay, this. And you can explore with that and you can play with that. But again, get familiar with yourself, with your own physical reactions, with your own emotional being, with your own energetic being. The more you actually connect with yourself and your own intuition, your own guidance system, the more you will actually naturally have those questions develop. The more you will naturally get into insights and you will suddenly understand of, oh, this is what the person was talking about. I understand now because I can feel it. Like what? Like you will actually start exploring it, but you need to become aware of yourself. Stop looking outside, go inward. And psychedelics can help with that. But if it's your first time, especially, or you really want to take it into more ceremonial instead of just recreational, which I highly recommend, I really recommend you go to a facilitator or someone who is trained, someone who has experience, someone who can guide you through it and make you feel safe as you just let go.